Okay, Mick and Dan here for That Pedal Show on Andertons TV. We're here with James Brown from Amptweaker to talk about new pedals for 2017. James, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to see you guys too.
So what do we have for 2017?
Well, the newest pedal that we're showing at 2017 NAMM is the PressuRizer, which is our version of a compressor with a boost built-in pedal. I get a lot of people who send ideas in all the time, as you guys know, and one of the things I kept hearing was, can you make a pedal that had sustain without compression? And I'm like, well, of course not. But what people were asking for was, can you make a compressor that doesn't mess with my attack? And so what we did is we came up with some pretty cool ways that you can do compression without affecting the attack of the note so much. So it even works better with distortion than most compressors.
Oh, wicked.
So.
Okay, let's hear it.
So this is without it on.
What's going on here, this has this feature we call bloom, which is a switch that takes the compression part and makes it swell. So it starts off with no sound and then it gradually adds it in. Then you mix that with the dry, so your note starts off as the normal guitar and then it blends in the compressor. That way you're not screwing with the attack of the note.
There's no compression.
Right.
Start. That's amazing.
So here's what the compressor part sounds like by itself. If you just play a chord, it's basically nothing at first, and then it adds the chord in.
Just keep playing.
Okay. But when you add that back to the dry like this, you can actually get that bloom like an old Les Paul has out of a Telecaster. And the thing that's cool about that is I can go into like an overdrive pedal like this. I'll start off with just a cool rocking sound here. Okay. Now play with this. You don't lose all of your attack.
Yeah.
You know, normally if you use that much sustain, your notes are going to be so splooshed on the front end that it bothers you. You know, it just feels like mud.
What a great idea.
With this one, it actually works better.
Yeah, to actually have that compression not there at the start. So a lot of compression pedals that we know have got the blend thing, but they're still compressing. Actually, to not have that there and to have the full attack of the note, and then to have that compression swell up is incredible.
Presumably, James, you can affect how quickly it comes in, yeah?
Yeah, there's two settings. There's a fast and a slow.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of simplify things, I just have an off, fast, and a slow. If it's off, if you just want a regular compressor sound, you turn it off, and then you get the pop on the front, and you get the smoosh to it and everything. And then on the left over here, we have a limit, which is an output limit after the blend and everything. So if you want to limit the attack of the dry and everything a little bit, you can smush that just a little. I'll turn it off. Right now it's off. Oh, sorry, the pedal's off too. You have to turn the pedal on in order to hear it. Okay. Now I'm going to turn on this onto the hard setting. Here's off. Here's the soft setting, which is kind of in between the Goldilocks sound, as you call it. There's also one last thing. There's a tone control here that works on just the compressed part.
Okay.
So I have it on the bloom setting. So I'm going to turn it up where you get more highs when the note comes in, when the compression comes in. So it gets a little brighter. Or you can turn it down and it cuts the mids when the compression, so it's a little more natural sounding and not quite so compressed sounding. A little bit less noticeable.
Yeah, because you would expect those highs to die off a little bit in the natural decay of the note, so it feels that way. Sure.
And then there's a little fun trick at the end of this pedal. You know, once you hear it, you don't ever want to turn it off, right? So what we did is we made it to where if you press and hold it when it's on, it locks the compressor on, and then you can access a boost on the side.
Oh, okay.
So you hit that. So you've got like a 3-step. Press and hold it to unlock it back and go back to your on-off mode.
So that's everything for 2017?
We did have one other pedal that's kind of a sleeper for us. It's called the PressuRizer, and it's just a fun little thing. I had a lot of guys who have our pedals with all the loops and stuff, and maybe they wanted to be able to tweak the boost tone a little bit. You know, when you add gain, you end up with a little bit brighter tone automatically because the bandwidth widens from the gain. So this is just a simple passive high EQ, but I set it up to where it can do extreme high end, so you can use it with something like an amp that you're playing at low volume and be able to knock that sizzly, fizzy high end off of it. So I've got it set up right now through this Big Rock Pro in the loop. Here's with it turned down all the way, or turn off. Okay, I'm gonna turn it up a little bit there. All right. This is on the middle frequency, all the way down. Up. So you can really dial in that fizziness. You know, if you like it, it's presence. If you hate it, it's fizz. That's kind of the way people work, you know? So, and then if you need it to be more like a regular tone, you turn it all the way down to the crackle position, and then it's a little bit dark, a little bit lower. And then if you have a particularly bright speaker, you know, like an old Fender amp with a seam cone speaker is very sizzly, you might use it on the fizz setting, which is the highest one. You might not be able to hear it with this amp, but go ahead and try it. It's pretty subtle with this particular speaker. It's pretty subtle. But if you put it in a 5150, the fizz setting ends up being pretty noticeable as well. And a lot of guys are using these, like I said, in the effects loop of their amp.
Yeah.
Or you can put it on a pedal board, as long as it's after a buffer. It's a low impedance circuit, and it's passive. It doesn't need a battery or anything. So,
Excellent. James, thanks so much. Amptweaker for 2017. Thank you.
thanks.